Need a resolution to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Dan and Dennis, any, questions, comments, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Jackie, items to be discussed by, Human Resources. Do you have any report on, salary tracking?
I did include with the agenda the notice, the tracking for the notice of intent to fill. There were a few positions, actually quite a few for June, but all the information is on there and pretty self-explanatory, so I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay, on to voluntary benefits survey.
Mr. Chairman, on that particular matter, this is a follow-up to a conversation we've had in the past concerning offering employees a cafeteria plan, if you will, that would allow them to have a plan to save money with the county in order to use it for various medical supplies or drugs that are not covered by their insurances or co-pays. And also there is a availability of certain other insurances through some of these programs. Probably the one that everybody's most familiar with is an AFLAC type program, and that's what's been discussed in the past. And in meeting with a representative of AFLAC, they made a recommendation that we may want to take a survey to start off. So what we have done is put together a brief survey, and I think that was included in your packets, hopefully.
It's on the back side of it.
It's on the back side. And with the committees, if the committee's in agreement, we would propose sending that out to the employees to see what the interest level would be before we go too much further in terms of doing RFPs and things of that nature.
I'd move it.
Okay, moved by Dan, seconded by Matt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, referral from Public Works Committee, request for approval of a job-related course completed by Maja Tianaska Scroggins and to authorize reimbursement for 50% of the course costs. The course is Math of Finance, Office Productivity, Accounting for not-for-profit organizations, Accounting Micro Applications 2. Course location is SUNY. Term is January to May. Cost is $22.50.20. Moved by Matt, seconded by Ron.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I think it's important that the motion read up to the amount. The final numbers are still being calculated as to exactly what the 50% reimbursement will be.
Okay.
Well, I've got those, I've got the bill here, and we've calculated it up, so.
I got some emails this morning, Mike, that Jeff and Rob are still going back and forth on some of the numbers, so if I have a figure too, but I just think if the resolution would read up to, then we can finalize that.
All right.
Okay.
Because there's a Pell Grant in here, and there's another problem that's associated with this. When there was a reimbursement submitted for the fall semester, the Pell Grant was included in that, so basically we over-reimbursed by about $265 at that point. So I want to make sure that that doesn't happen in the spring semester. I'm also kind of concerned because, I mean, the paperwork is dated June 26th, and you're supposed to be getting approval for this prior to the course being taken. So I understand that there was a delay apparently in the DPW about getting this filed, but it does concern me because I turned down one of my own employees who tried to submit in May because I said, I'm sorry, you didn't get it to me before the semester started. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, in this instance, I think the employee, it's my understanding it's well understood that this employee has been in a program for some time at ACC. I don't know if Jeff is here, but I think that Jeff was well aware that the employee was taking credits this spring. As a matter of fact, she's a full-time employee. She's taking 4 courses, 12 credit hours at night. And I believe that Jeff, if he were here, he would tell you that it was an oversight, that he didn't seek approval, but he certainly knew that she was taking the courses and would be seeking reimbursement.
Okay. Ron, I think you made the motion, right?
I seconded it.
You seconded, Matt, you made the motion.
I did.
Okay, both of you agree with changing it so that it's not to exceed that amount?
I can't do that.
You can't do that.
I can't back it up.
Okay, we're good.
You're good. One thing I like about you, Matt, I never know where you're coming from.
I second that.
All in favor?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 3, request items to be discussed by county administrator. First one's an update on the county human resources director position. Paul?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the closeout date for resumes for the HR director position was July 2nd. We have received a total of 8 applications. I have preliminarily reviewed them, and I do find that there are people that appear to be qualified for the position. When I say appear, is because civil service must pass upon their qualifications as to the civil service job description, so I've sent them down to Trish Nenninger. She's in the process of reviewing them. She tells me that she needs some additional information from some of the applicants, so, and we did not get, in a couple instances, some completed job applications and things, so that's why she's lacking some of this information. So we are in the process of getting that. I anticipate that process to be completed sometime this week. After that, I guess the question, Mr. Chairman, would be for the committee is that I would propose to send out resumes to the committee so you can take a look at them, but then I'd also propose that we set up a meeting for interviews, and I didn't know if you wanted to set up a special meeting or if you wanted to wait till your next regularly scheduled meeting to do that.
What's the feeling of the committee?
What, is there any rush to do it?
You know, we're busy. Jackie has been doing a great job holding down operations and HR, but we aren't, while she's getting the job done, we're not moving ahead. She's, her workload is such that on days she's doing all of the processing of paperwork that she needs to do, but we're not able to get some of the other things done that we want to get done.
My thought is that rather than schedule a special meeting, which might end up needing to be rescheduled if information still isn't available or more stuff is sought, we ought to just go through our next regular meeting.
Any other thoughts?
I don't, if it's easier to meet earlier, I don't have any objection to that. I do have a question though, are we gonna be looking at all 8 of these, or are you gonna?
No, I think I would, what I would do is, as I usually do, I would I'd obviously give you all the information, but then I would recommend which ones, that I feel, well, advise you first of all which ones have qualified under civil service and which ones that I would recommend.
To me, it makes sense to have the special meeting, because we really spend a lot of time on this, and if your
it's not.
meeting
It takes a
schedules
while.
are tough,
Yeah.
up to you guys. Dan?
We can't today schedule interviews, because it sounds like the completion of qualified candidates will be coming forthwith, and then if we gave some time, couldn't we schedule interviews?
Well, if you wanted a special meeting, what I could do, because I know everybody it's kind of difficult to do it right here on the spot, especially if you want to check your schedules and everything, I could have my secretary contact you and set that up, and then put a notice out to, you know, everybody, the rest of the board members as well, so that they knew when the meeting was, but we could coordinate it with all of you first, if you'd like.
We could at least try that. I think if everybody's summer schedule's too busy, then that's the way it is, but we would get it started anyway. I don't have any
Three of us are
objection.
pretty local, so I don't think it matters to us. It's more the uptown guys that,
I can be here.
let's accommodate the boys first.
Anything you do.
That's not true.
Matt hasn't been here for a month or so anyway, so he needs to make it up. All right, you wanna go ahead and schedule in, and
I will contact, like I say, I'll have my secretary contact all of you then, and we'll find a date, and then once we have a date, we'll formally publicize it, of course, like we're required to, plus we'll notify the other board members as well.
okay. Wanna move on to reallocation appointments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Warren County will be meeting with the CSEA to talk about reallocations. If you'll recall, the CSEA collective bargaining agreement provides that the county board and the CSEA will meet, county board through the representatives will meet to discuss applications to have different positions in the county staffing set at different pay scales. Sometimes the union has positions. I know in recent weeks, the county clerk has come forth to her committee with some positions. I believe there's 1 or 2 in social services. So this time, we actually have some department heads that have looked for some reallocations based on their needs. The union may or may not have any. I don't know yet. We won't know until we attend the meeting. The county representatives to this reallocation committee are the chairman, Supervisor Taylor, myself, and it was Gretchen as the HR director. Due to the particular needs that we have on this committee, which is primarily doing wage studies and gathering other information, I would propose that we appoint Jackie to the committee temporarily until we get a new HR director, so that we can continue through this process. She will be able to provide the services that we need in terms of salary, studies, and other things, and I think it would be important to have her at this meeting anyway. So if that would be satisfactory to the committee, I'd recommend that.
Moved by Dan, second by Matt. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, final item is extension of an agreement. You wanna cover that, Paul?
Yes. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, we've had an agreement with Capital Financial to run our HRA program. This was a program that we implemented a number of years ago with all unions to pay, reimburse co-pays when we raised the amount of the co-pays that were required for prescription drug and physician or hospital services. The co-pay program ended in the last negotiations that we had, in the last contracts that we signed for everyone except the PBA. The PBA, as you know, we never did reach an agreement until recently, and as a result, we were required by law to continue part of that co-pay program for them. So since then, Capital Financial has continued to manage the program and administrate it just like they had always have, and it was just for the PBA members. At this point, now that the program has been ended also for the PBA as a result of negotiations, there will still be what we call a run-out period where for the time period of the past year that they've been in the program, if they have any claims that they want to make for co-pays, they have up to 120 days to do so. There was a reference in your agenda to 90. That was incorrect. It should be 120. The 90 applies if an employee terminates the health insurance, so that was mistakenly put in there. If we terminate the plan through an agreement such as we have, it's a 120-day run-out period. So Capital Financial has been, as I mentioned, has been administrating this, but what we found was the last time that we had renewed the agreement with Capital Financial was through Resolution 570 of 2013, and at that point it had continued through 14 because we anticipated that all of the co-pay programs would be ended. We had not anticipated that we would have the problems that we had, obviously, in reaching an agreement with the PBA. So as a result, we need to extend that agreement with Capital Financial through July 1st for the regular administration. Post July 1st, I spoke with Capital Financial, and they have agreed to cut their normal fee down to a much smaller administrative fee for the last 4 months of $20 a month. So I thought that was very reasonable of them, and obviously they're doing it because they don't anticipate a lot of claims. It is smaller than the fee that they're entitled to under the contract. So if the committee is in agreement, I would recommend that we extend that agreement with Capital Financial on the terms that I just indicated.
Okay. Someone like to move that? Ron? Second? Dennis? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Martin. Sick leave donation policy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is something that Gretchen began a few months back. It was left as an unfinished item, and I've worked with Jackie on getting this finalized. This is the sick leave donation policy for out-of-unit employees. We think it's ready to go. The idea here is to create a sick leave bank, if you will, or a sick leave donation policy for non-bargaining unit employees. We have these for our unions, we don't have it for our out-of-unit employees. In order to qualify, in order to qualify as a DONI employee, an employee would have to be employed by the county for a minimum of 52 weeks, must have worked at least 1,250 hours during the prior 12-month period, unable to work due to a medically verified illness, and they've exhausted all available leave time and otherwise would be subject to loss of income during a continuing loss of work. The County Human Resources Department would work in collaboration with the Warren County Treasurer's Office to manage and administer the policy. It'll be administered in concert with the Sheriff's Office Alliance and CSEA sick leave donation programs. A donor employee, someone who wants to donate time, must have at least 10 accumulated sick leave days available. You can donate up to 1 sick leave day per employee. The maximum number that can be donated to any employee is 50, and the maximum number of days that can any recipient donee, for all recipient donees is 450 days per year. That's consistent with the CSEA and the Alliance contracts. So there's a confidentiality provision in here as well. We think this is ready to go, and certainly entertain any questions. But Jackie, did you have anything that you wanted to add at this point about this policy?
No, I just think it's important that everyone knows the last 2 people who received donations were CSEA employees, and I had several out-of-unit employees, supervisors try to donate a day, but you couldn't allow them to because the policy didn't exist for them to do that. So
And they would be able
a lot
to
of
do,
generous
they would be
people.
able to do so under this policy.
Okay, would someone like to move it? Dennis, second by Matt. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last item is just, for information only, it's vacancies filled. As a note, I noticed that there's a concern about the amount that we pay for equipment operators. I happened to see in this weekend, ad for ACE, did you see that?
Yeah.
50 grand for, I assume it's tractor trailer drivers, but nevertheless, a lot of benefits. Tough to match. Any other business for this committee? Motion to adjourn. Dennis and Matt.